Yo, what's going on? Next up, we got a video from the stupendous wave called Anakin's entire first year as Darth Vader. If I had to take a guess, I'm gonna go ahead and assume he was on timing for the entire first year, just tracking down as many Jedi Master survivors, anything that he could find, just slaughtering them niggas, bro. Cause after Order 66, he that brother was lost. He was spiritually broken. So, but let's hear exactly what he was doing. I think that's a pretty good guess. But I mean, you could say that's
Darth
what he
Vader
was doing
struck
the
fear into
entire
the
time.
hearts of both the rebels and the Imperial officers alike. However, behind the mask, the fallen Chosen One carried a lot of emotional baggage and was constantly in obscene amounts of pain, a pain that would hit him the hardest during his first few weeks in the suit. Welcome friends to today's video, where we will be taking a peek inside of Darth Vader's mind at the very beginning of it all, beginning directly after the events of Revenge of the Sith, exploring Darth Vader was up to, what he was feeling, and how the transformation from Anakin Skywalker to Lord of the Sith was well underway. For this video, we will be using the now Legends novel Dark Lord: The Rise of Darth Vader in order to understand everything Vader was going through. We must begin with detailing the suit's functions in regards to his injuries, as well as Anakin's adjustments to them. The suit and his medical issues tie directly into the functioning mental state, which played a huge part in how he went about his business at the start of the Empire. At the end of each of Vader's severed limbs was bulbs of synthetic flesh that connected him to his robotic limbs, as movement was triggered by a module that was connected with his nerve endings. On his chest, the respirator was connected to a breathing apparatus and heartbeat regulator inside of him. The ventilator was connected by tubes into his lungs and his throat so that he could breathe without using his mouth, which was where the iconic breathing sound was born. All of this because the burns from Mustafar were so severe that it had charred him both externally as well as internally. Inside his mask, the goggles filtered out light, as to not cause his already damaged retinas any further harm. Furthermore, Vader's eardrums had been melted beyond repair, so to compensate, the helmet was equipped with implants that went into his inner ear, where sound waves had to be directly transmitted into Vader's brain. Wearing the suit was an extremely unpleasant experience due to his failure on Mustafar. Sidious punished him by using substandard and obsolete material when crafting Vader's suit. The results were horrific. The inside of the suit wasn't properly lined, which caused the cables and armor plating hooks to painfully catch and snag on his loose flesh and joints when he moved.
God
his boots didn't properly fit his body and were cumbersome and heavy, so heavy that when he was pushed in the suit, he felt as if he were too rooted into the ground. Also, due to his raised heels, it was all he could do to make sure that he didn't topple over when he was walking. His artificial limbs and digits were sometimes slow to respond, and because of his pectoral armor, he could barely lift his arms over his head without extreme pain. The audio implants we mentioned earlier were also poorly designed, as they didn't filter out ambient noise, and as a result, Vader would often hear a lot of feedback. Due to this, it was difficult to determine the distance or direction of certain sounds and sometimes small noises. These small noises in return would cause an echoing or a vibrating effect. If this wasn't enough, the buttons on the regulator panel on his chest would beep at random and for seemingly no reason. During his first few weeks, Vader also mentioned that he felt claustrophobic within the black shell. Sleep
bro, this shit is making me upset, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, what the fuck?
Horrible dreams and the incessant noise caused by his new body. Vader's suit was a prison from which he couldn't ever escape from more than a few hours. The only time he ever felt somewhat human again was when he was able to spare a little time to get out of his suit and float in a bacta-tank for a small while, or when he was able to take his helmet off in his meditation sphere. Vader also felt a bit more at home around his stormtroopers, as they too were bound by duty within their armor. When not thinking about his horrible existence within his suit, Vader spent most of his early thought life dwelling on Padme, thinking about what could have been, and ruining every day that went by that he failed to find where his old master Kenobi was hiding. Vader thought many times about what would have happened if Padme had just accepted what he was trying to do for them. He envisioned the two of them sitting upon the throne of Coruscant, ruling the galaxy as it should be ruled alongside their children. Anakin had planned to overthrow and destroy Palpatine, living in peace as the end-all be-all superior being of the Force. No Jedi, no Sith, just the Chosen One. But all of that was gone because of Obi-Wan's ignorance, because of Padme's naivety, and because of Sidious. While it was true he wanted nothing more than to inflict every bit of torment and pain that he was going through onto Obi-Wan, it was Sidious who had manipulated him. Sidious who had punished and imprisoned him with this black cage of armor. And Sidious who now had gained everything while Vader had lost everything. Vader would dwell on these thoughts for lengthy periods of time. Because of this, he grew melancholy. He moped around his Star Destroyer between missions. All of this pain and anguish he went through built up and only fueled his inner darkness. This darkness was unleashed only when he had the pleasure of hunting down Jedi survivors of Order 66. His only outlet was being able to cut down the Jedi in his path. Though at first, this too proved to be a challenge. When he was freshly in his suit about 4 weeks after the events of Mustafar, he found himself battling his first Jedi Knight within his new armor. He had a difficult time for a moment against the Knight, as he had not yet adapted his lightsaber style to that of his armor. The Jedi ended up getting a hit on Vader's arm. After this, Vader soon dispatched and beheaded the Jedi, but was deeply disturbed by what had taken place. No other with a lightsaber had so much as touched him besides that of Master Obi-Wan Kenobi and Count Dooku. And yet, these mere Jedi Knights had somehow gotten through his defenses. Vader would go on to adapt to his lightsaber form to include some aspects of Makashi to function better with his limited movement, while retaining the power of...
Bro, this man... His entire childhood was just suffering, right? Like, he was born into slavery or whatever, and his mom was fucking stuck on that planet, stuck as a slave, and then when he came back, tried to save her, she died. All that bullshit going on with him. Having this heavy-ass burden on his shoulders throughout his entire life, knowing that he is the quote-unquote chosen one, and that he has to find the answers to solving all the world's problems. Like, this nigga is going through it all his life. And then that plan wasn't sound, my guy. That plan was not sound. The whole overthrowing Palpatine after, and then have just sitting with him, Padme, ruling the whole galaxy. Like, no, my nigga, no, that's not how shit gonna go down. Especially after he chose to slaughter some kids. Like, that was wild. I don't know when or where, why, how that got put into the plan, but my nigga, no. The chosen one is not the way that shit should have, the way that he should have seen his plan roll out. Like, what the hell? But looking at Anakin, just Anakin, in the Clone Wars, and then imagining him all fucked up in that suit is what's messing me up. Like, that is beyond disturbing, bro. Like, beyond disturbing. And I mean, he's right. The fact that literally he, besides Dooku, of course, nobody else has ever hit this nigga with a lightsaber before. So, besides Dooku and Obi-Wan, after that, this nigga gets put in this damn suit and just starts getting clapped by a random Jedi Knight. It's like, yeah, I bet that would kind of fuck with your mental. But still can't defend you, my guy. I see the plan. I see what he was trying to do in the long run, but the sacrifices that he had to make to get there, I don't think that that was the only way, my guy. There were definitely other ways that this could have been accomplished. I don't even know.
Gem, so his favored form is Anakin. In fact, over time, Vader included more aspects of all the forms to ensure the most effective way of fighting for his new body, specifically tailored to it. He became a formidable and indomitable opponent, cutting down one Jedi after the next with the help of his Inquisitors. Over the ensuing months, Vader began to grow more accustomed to his suit and was able to control his movements much more efficiently. He modified the pistons in his own arm to where he'd be able to lift a fully grown man off the floor very easily. He had most often been operating in the shadows until the Emperor felt he was ready to be released to the public eye. Soon enough, Lord Vader made his debut to both the public at large as well as the Galactic Empire. Officers feared him, and stormtroopers respected him. Towering at a staggering 6 feet 8 inches, he could silence a room with his very presence, and no one had seen anything like Vader before. Not since General Grievous of the Clone Wars. In our last video, we talked a little bit about the Sith skill of Dun Mok, a psychological warfare used to disconnect an opponent from the Force by instilling doubt and fear by way of insults or belittling speech. Well, Darth Vader was able to achieve Dun Mok within the first few minutes of meeting a Jedi without saying a word, perhaps being the best utilizer of the ability in all of Star Wars. Vader's bloodlust for Jedi was insatiable, so much so that Sidious had to tell him to stop hunting them. In his opinion, Lord Sidious already considered their victory absolute. For over 1,000 years, the Sith had to hide in the shadows, and he wanted the Jedi to know what he felt like while watching the Republic crumble to ash. He was under the impression that Vader needed to focus more on Imperial tasks, and leave the Jedi slaying to the Inquisitors. Vader, however, didn't listen, and kept pursuing Jedi on his own time. This hunting would go on up until he was led to the planet of Kashyyyk. There, the Imperials had planned an invasion to capture as many Wookiees as possible to use as slaves to build the first Death Star. 6 Jedi were also being kept under their protection as the invasion commenced, this marking one of Darth Vader's most important moments of his entire life. Vader went down and slayed all of the Jedi within his path, as they were astonished and overwhelmed by his power. Jedi Master Roan Shrine went down to confront Vader in a surprise attack on the Sith Lord. The battle was fierce, with the Jedi Master able to land a few hits on the seemingly insurmountable Dark Lord. During the fight, Vader gave in more and more to the dark side until he stopped fighting with his lightsaber and dismantled the Jedi Master with the Force alone. Master Shrine, beaten and near death, spat insults at Vader, telling him that he was controlled by the Emperor and that he'd be betrayed just as the Jedi had been. Then, Darth Vader chose to reveal who the Emperor really was, as well as who he really was to the dying Jedi, before allowing him to ultimately succumb to the Force and his injuries. In this moment of revelry, the dark side was strong with Vader, and at that moment, the suit seemed little more to him than garments, and the Jedi seemed little more to him than small interferences. He had finally found himself, and he knew his true purpose, to bring order to the Empire. Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith, left Kashyyyk with a newfound understanding of himself, as well as the dark side. He would then go on to cause more terror and tyranny in the galaxy, until such a day as the rebellion rose to face him. So my friends, what did you think of today's video? What other characters would you like to hear more about in the future? And if you like this style of video, comment down below and let us know if you'd like to see more. What are your thoughts on Anakin Skywalker's first year as Darth Vader? In the meantime, may the Force be with you and have a great day.
Good lord. So basically within that first year, he gained a bloodlust for tracking down and killing Jedi. Went to the planet Kashyyyk and 1v6'd some niggas and was just growing accustomed to living inside the suit. But jeez, I mean, I thought that much. But one thing I will say that I learned was how much pain and suffering he was experiencing while in the suit. I didn't know that it was like that. I didn't even know that I guess you could say, like, I knew he could take it off, but I didn't think he should take it off, if you know what I meant. Like, or if you know what I mean, like, I thought it was basically like a part of him. But they said that he could get out of it and then float around in that water thing. Damn, Saiyan chamber, whatever the fuck you call them, in Star Wars. But he could do that and then take off his helmet while he's meditating. But besides that, I thought that the suit was just a part of him at that point. Drilled into his ear holes to be able to hear and just send sound waves. Like, what the fuck, bro? They said his ears were melted from the lava. Like, nah, bro, that's wild. That's actually wild. Yeah, comment down below if you learned anything new. If you enjoyed my reaction, feel free to hit the like button. subscribe, and share. And I will see you all in the next one.